So how did I end up composing music for the full classical orchestra? Well, as a teenager, I taught myself music production. And later in life, I was also inspired by the music by a man named Moondog. I read a story about Moondog, who was called the Viking of Fifth Avenue in New York, that when he was a teenager, he had an accident. Maybe some shotgun shells blew up in his face, blinding him permanently. So he moved to New York City, where he became a classical music composer, and some of his music became very popular because of the movie The Big Lebowski, which happens to be my favorite movie. Stomping Ground, for example, or Bird's Lament. And I started to enjoy this kind of music because of that. I had been listening to classical music as well by Giuseppe Verdi, sorry. Of course, Mozart a bit less, Rachmaninoff's pianos, concertos, and so on. I started going to the opera occasionally, La Traviata, for example. And then, I've come to a point in my life where I felt like I do actually have the skill to compose for the classical orchestra. I didn't know that a few years ago. I was making dance music, pop music, trance music, and only because I felt that my melodies had meandered into complex enough melodic music, that I thought, okay, maybe this could be a source of inspiration to turn into classical music, to try my hand at producing symphonic poems for the full orchestra. Which is what my Kickstarter project is all about. I started a Kickstarter project asking people to donate or fund it, crowdfund it, depending on how much you want to spend. You can spend anything from €1 or $1 to whatever you want. There's several tiers. There's some rewards as well. For example, you can get to have MP3s or lossless FLAC files as a download. And I intend to produce a CD with a jewel case and an inlay booklet. So those of you who are interested could then invest in that tier, and I will send out, when I'm finished composing the music, I will ship out the CDs into your mailbox. The CD will have about 60 minutes of classical music, probably around 10 or 12 symphonic poems of varying lengths. En ik wissel het ritme natuurlijk ook af met een andere baslijn. And put together, it should be about 60 minutes of music that I'm going to compose. I already started composing my music, of course. I'm already working on the first one. I'm going to call it Vala's Prophecy, named after the first poem from the Edda. I forgot to mention, the theme is going to be Old Norse and Germanic mythology. Richard Wagner did The Ring of the Nibelungs, of course. Sorry, he didn't put all of the Edda or all of the extant Germanic and Old Norse literature to music. So I'm going to make music about the gods of Odin and Freya, goddesses, Thor and Heimdall and so on. And basically put together some music just for your enjoyment and your inspiration.